you got your options, so pick the right thing. Some choices to make them mad, ruckus to bring them just hooked on it. Dark bodies who want it. I don't know where you got your skills from, jump off it. Bring it on, any opponent or contender. No one can stop this with guns or objects. As far as I'm concerned, yo, it's only one topic. Join the street fighters from bare hands to toxic. You're an average warrior, I'll be the master. I can teach you how to fight or move faster. One false move, kid, that'd be disaster. I'll beat you endless and continue the day after. Street Fighter 3, that's right, the third chapter. This game's for real, no lies or no actors. Pick your character, don't wanna represent your life. You start with anybody, so make your choice right.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, one box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things.
See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes.
You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one, just practice. Just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch, spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you backflip.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select and make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I know you got your options, so pick the right thing. Some choices to make them mad, ruckus to bring them just hooked on it. Dark bodies who want it. I don't know where you got your skills from, jump off it. Bring it on, any opponent or contender. No one can stop this with guns or objects. As far as I'm concerned, yo, it's only one topic. Join the street fighters from bare hands to toxic. You're an average warrior, I'll be the master. I can teach you how to
Alright, hello everyone. It's, I don't know, my mic quality might be bad. I'm doing this on really short notice, so the mic quality is gonna probably be bad, but, probably just gonna have to deal with that tonight. But, so yeah, we're gonna be doing a breakdown of these trailers here. So, earlier today, Pokemon Company revealed the 2 new games that are coming out, Pokemon Legends and Gen 4 remakes, and I'm going to be breaking down these trailers real quick. Before I start, is my audio alright? Is it too quiet, too loud? What do I need to do? Chat lags, so like I'm still waiting for people to respond about my audio at this point. Okay, well, I haven't really seen anyone say anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and assume. Okay, audio's good. Alright, yeah, the breathing is kind of I can't really do much about that, so I'll just try to breathe quiet, I guess. Alright, so anyways, we're gonna start with. Should I start with the remake trailer or the Legends trailer? I might do Snap, but we'll see. So anyways, we're gonna start with. Should I start with the remake trailer or the Legends trailer? I might do Snap, but we'll see. Alright, I guess I'll just do remakes since that was first in the direct. Alright, so we're just gonna kind of start this out here. So there's just this opening part here. Yeah, don't breathe. I'll do my best. No promises though. Alright, so I'm gonna take this scene by scene, by the way. So you know these are minute-and-a-half trailers, but we're probably gonna spend a good while on this. This opening part's just a little montage. It doesn't really matter. I do really like this though. It's pretty. Alright, so there's nothing really to break down here, it's just kind of the gameplay. One thing I do note, they show the Palkia statue here, we never actually see that in the remake version. Oh, wait. That might... No. Is that the Palkia statue? I can never remember how they stood. Okay, yeah, I forgot. It's supposed to be both of them. Alright, never mind. It's been a while since I've played these games, so... Yeah, so keep that in mind. So that is a statue. It's supposed to be both of them. In the remake, as we'll see in a bit, it appears that it's supposed to be more clear-cut to be Dialga. But yeah. Alright, Brilliance once more. I mean, everyone expected this. It's, alright, so here is where we're going to get into the actual gameplay. I'm going to slow us down a bit. Alright, so we open here with the house. I mean, so it's pretty much just the standard Pokemon house here. It's got the Nintendo Switch, because every Pokemon game, they have the most recent system. One thing I do note, yeah, it has Palkia's shoulder plates, but if you look at the statue, it also has, like, Dialga's horns. So, I think I remember now, in the original, there was something, it was kind of like a, it was kind of like a thing where they thought it was one Pokemon, but in actuality it was 2 different ones. But we'll see in the remake in a little bit, it does seem that it appears to be more based on Dialga in this one, which is why it kind of confused me. Alright, so anyways, they're playing Sword and Shield. That looks like some sort of raid den. I don't think there's a raid den that has that sort of mountain here, but, you know, it's just kind of a faithful recreation. Other than that, the room looks pretty similar, I want to say. I think the room is mostly... Yeah, okay, so the room's unchanged except for the, Wii. It's so, yeah, it's pretty faithful in that sense. So you got the window, got the sign with the writing and everything. so this is the town. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but alright, so here we see, well, let's go back to this scene. Sorry, this is my first time doing something like this. Alright, so this is the, I can't remember the starting town in this game. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've played this. I'm going off the top of my head. Here we see the youngster model, and here we see the breeder model, and that's the Pokemon Lab, I think. The layout of this town is almost exactly like the one in Hoenn, if I recall. But, yeah. So that's about all there is for that scene. And so here we get the Juggler, I think it is, Fisherman, Ace Trainer, and Child. And this is the, we get a good look at the big city. I should have looked up the names of these towns ahead of time, because now I just seem like I don't know anything, but I do. It's just been a while since I've played this game. So this is, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think this is the point in the story where you get the watch. This is the route with the flower shop. It's not the route, it's the city where you fight Gardenia. We don't see her here. There's the beauty model, though. And Pokemart looks about the same. And then here we have our first route, and this is where the things get interesting, is where we get the little angled plaques. Oh, yeah, they did. I didn't even notice that, but yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, here we get the youngster. This is actually, I think, the first route, not the first route, but it's one of the first. And so there's Shinx. The backgrounds look a lot better in this game than they have in previous games, in my opinion. And so earlier I was playing this, and I noticed something about the trainer. So if we look at Pearl trainers, if we look at the original trainers, I think I tweeted about this, but I don't know if all you guys saw this. In the original, they have the design is, they got this jacket here. I'm using Diamond as an example, but Dawn is I think it's the same for her. So in their original designs, they have this jacket. Yeah, I think it's actually different depending on, you know, whichever. When you don't play as, the one that you don't play as gets the jacket because they're studying under the professor or whatever. But if you look at their appearance in the anime, they, let me see if I can find them. It'd probably be easier to find one for Dawn. So yeah, Dawn. We'll see her in a little bit, but it looks like they're using the more anime-inspired designs for the characters this time around, in opposed to the kind of like what they did with May and what's his name, Brendan in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And I think that's interesting. It's, you know, not the biggest deal. Here we get our first look at the battle system. It's we see Piplup up here. The models look, I don't want to say they look different, but I think they look better. It's probably just, you know, overall graphical upgrades, and I think that's the same water gun animation from Sword and Shield, so it looks like they probably will be reusing a lot of animations in this. Here we see day-night cycle, so this game will have a day-night cycle. See Bidoof here, it's the same route, so this is Route 1 or 2 or whatever it is. This is probably in the cave in... I gotta look up a map, because I can't remember the names of the cities. So this shot that we're looking at right now, it probably takes, okay, Orberg City, that's the one I was thinking of. So there is yeah, okay, that is the one I'm thinking about. So there's a cave where you can go in there, and that is probably where this takes place, because that's the earliest spot in the game. You can get a Geodude, and he's got a Turtwig. Alright, so yeah, there we get a good look at Dawn, and I think this is probably a better example than what's his name. So this is how Dawn looked in the original game. She's got this jacket and the coat and whatever, and then if you look at her in this, it's more like how she looks in the Pokemon anime, which is just kind of a minor difference, but I think is pretty neat. So catching, you know, works the same as always. And here we get our first look at Barry. Barry's design looks about the same. I think he looks really good. He I think they took out everyone's coats because I might just be making it up, but I think Barry had a brown leather jacket in the original. But this is probably during the first battle you have. No, second battle, because he's got the Starly at this point. So this is the scene early on in the game where you go to the lake and you go to Professor Rowan and you first kind of encounter the Lake Trio. I think you find Azelf here. So this is just another early game thing. And, yeah, so I haven't really touched on it yet. This is, God, I know all these places, I just can't remember the names, but... So this is that was a part in the original game. Here's the mine. It's we'll go back over this in a bit, but snowfield area. Now this is probably the most. The water does look really good. I agree with that. This to me is probably one of the most interesting shots of the trailer, because what this is the link room, and this was how you connected to local wireless and internet on the DS or whatever, because, you know, it didn't have Y-Gear or the Festival Plaza. So it was just a room where you would talk with other people and you would do battles. So what I'm speculating is I don't think this is going to be the online mode, because it would be limiting if you could only have, 20 people or whatever in one online room at a time. However, I think this might be the local local communications area. And I think that because that would probably work better. This room would definitely work better as the local communications area than it would as the Yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the they're in the Pokemon Center. You would go up and there would be two of them, one for local wireless and the other one for the internet. Alright, so here we have, it's one of the earlier meetings with the rival, and so yeah, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think they only had the coats in the original game if they were your rival, but even if that's the case, we see here he doesn't have a coat, so that is definitely a design change. And so this is the, okay, so here's Route 201. This is the one right before Fuchsia City, what's it called? Eternia City. Alright, yeah. I think that's right. No, it's not. Oh no, it's the one right before Sand Gem Town, that's right. I should go back and replay these games before I do any more of these breakdowns. That would probably help. But we don't. Yeah. Okay. So this is the mine area, I think. And what the mine area was in the original games is you would go down here and this is how you would dig up fossils. You would have there would be other trainers down here, and it was kind of a thing that would reset after a while. So there would always be new stuff down there or whatever. And what I think, we don't see anything down here, so this is kind of a speculation at this point. But I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being some sort of multiplayer thing, like you could do multiplayer in the mines or whatever. I don't think that's the case, but I think it's a little weird that they didn't show anyone. To be fair, the mine systems in the original were pretty empty, but I don't think we see anyone. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't. Alright, so here we got a battle against a youngster. This is the route where you catch Rapidash or whatever. And there's the, not youngster, Picnicker. It's the Picnicker model. It looks like it's pretty much exactly how the original model looks. There's not many differences. I say model, but it was a sprite. And I'm trying to go, I need to go back like one frame. Who's the... Okay, that was probably just Dawn. So yeah, here we see Garchomp, and the one thing that's interesting about this is a wild Garchomp. I don't think you could get wild Garchomps in the mines in the original game, and the only reason I can tell it's a wild one is because there's not a trainer behind it. So this is pretty interesting. I wonder if it's going to have some sort of similar thing like Sword and Shield, where you can catch high-level Pokemon in early game locations. They're just really hard because they're high leveled or whatever. Alright, so next shot, we get Croagunk using Acid, it looks like, on an unseen target. And then we get Kricketune using Bug Buzz, that looks like, on Ambipom. Both of these are just kind of showcases of the battle system, how it works. And, I think that's a different Brave Bird animation. Give me a sec. Yeah, that's a different Brave Bird animation than the one that's already in Sword and Shield. Then Floatzel uses Protect here. At this point, they're just kind of showcasing battles. I can't tell if that's supposed to be Aura Sphere. Actually, you know what? No, yeah, that's probably Aura Sphere because Lucario is using it. That would make the most sense. So I think that might be a new animation too, so that really kind of questions. For the longest time, I believed that the Diamond and Pearl remakes would just be like every other remake so far, and it's the same but same graphical style and compatible with the previous game in the generation. But if it's in a completely different art style with completely different models, and not models, but animations for some things, I do wonder if that's not going to be the case. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but we'll just have to see. Porygon Z using Hyper Beam. It's a really nice looking Hyper Beam right there. Uses it on Garchomp, it looks like. And so yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Now I can't tell. Okay, now that I look at it, the statue might still be a mashup of Palkia and Dialga, but it definitely looks more like Dialga in this version, and the reason why is because it's got the wings and stuff, but those wings also look like the steel plates, or whatever. But I don't know, we'll just kind of have to wait and see for that. There's not a whole lot to go off of this trailer, and the name drop, I don't know how I feel about the names of these remakes. Personally, if I had to rename them, I would have made it something along the lines of, Spatial Diamond and Temporal Pearl. That's the one everyone did, but I think it made the most sense because it was space and time. There's the main theme of the two legendaries. Okay, yeah, there's nothing else. So before we move on to the meat and potatoes here, I just kind of want to share my thoughts on this in general. I think the game looks good. I've seen a lot of people, especially on Twitter, talking about the art style. So let's go ahead and get into the game here. I think the art style's not bad. I think it'll take some time to get used to, but I think, especially considering their next announcement, this was probably the best move instead of trying to push for 2 Sword and Shield style realistic Pokemon games. Also, I don't hate it. I think that a lot of people have some issues with the player models on the overworld, and I think that's fair. But I think the models outside of that look pretty good. All the backgrounds look really good. The routes look really good. Like, I know someone in chat was pointing out earlier, that water looks really pretty. And yeah, this game in general, it looks very nice. These trees look like Animal Crossing. It's crazy. And some of these shots just do look like scenes from an Animal Crossing game. Like, I had one in particular. It was the one where, yeah, this one. This looks like a scene from Animal Crossing because you got the ramp and everything. It's a very pretty game despite its sort of simplistic appearance. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say. If I had to do any speculation about this game, it would probably be that we might have some sort of Delta episode style thing for post-game. Probably, if they did that, it would be Giratina and Arceus. But we'll just have to see. Like I said, there's not a lot to go off of just this trailer, so I'll probably do more analysis for future trailers, and I'll definitely put more research into those, because this one was kind of cranked out, and it's been forever since I've played Diamond and Pearl, so I forgot a lot of the events and stuff. Now, we're gonna move on to Pokemon Legends here. I'm gonna switch up the music real quick. It's there, okay. Alright, so right off the bat, this is where my analysis is this is where I was finding the most stuff to analyze. Right off the bat, we get this table here, and I think the thing that stood out to me here most were these two Pokeballs, and the reason why is because if you look at these, they have a woody texture and a sort of locking system. Now, there's two references that this could be pointing to. For starters, there's the ancient Pokeball, which was seen in the Celebi animated movie, and the way it worked is it had a crank, and you would turn the crank, and that's how you activated it. And if you look up here, there's some sort of knob. That could, you can't see it because my face cam's in the way, but it's this thing right here. But, so some people have kind of pointed that out. The thing that I think is the more direct and straightforward reference, though, probably the one that they actually intended, was the woody texture. It brings back the apricorns. It's referencing the apricorns that Pokeballs are made of, because Pokeballs are made of a fruit sort of berry thing. It's kind of strange, but yeah, it's they're apricorns, and they got a sort of locking mechanism here. I do like the idea of a Pokemon game set in the past, and this just looks very pretty. So, as for Pokemon that we know are going to be in this game off of this trailer, I'll kind of be keeping track. There's Piplup, the Spheoline, there's Mount Coronet, and just right off the bat, before we do any analysis, I just want to say this game looks very beautiful. In my initial reaction, I said that this game looked Breath of the Wild levels of good, and I still stand by that claim. I think this game looks amazing. And there was a little bit of frame delay during the live stream of it, but I went back and rewatched this trailer, and it turns out that was just because of YouTube. It's not due to the quality of the game itself. And also, keep in mind, this game is still a year away at least, so by the time this comes out, this thing will be polished. It'll just look so good. I am really hyped for this. I do have a few concerns, which we will get into in a minute, but right off the bat, this looks so much better than the wild area. Similarly to the last game, more so in this game, the Pokemon models, they look a little different, but I can't tell if that difference is due to the model being different or the lighting engine. Off of this shot, I think it's probably the latter, because Piplup has a lot of light shining on it, and that seems to be a lighting effect everywhere. But we'll see it in later. This shot in particular, this was probably the shot with the Bidoof. This is what sold me on this game, because this looks like this. You know, people would put the Pokemon in Unreal Engine, and they would say, "Nintendo, hire this man," or whatever, and it would look like this. If it looked great. It looks really good, in my opinion, at least. You know, if you don't think it does, that's whatever. I think it's a lighting engine difference. The models might be different, but it probably not a major difference. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. There we go. Alright. So now we get into the town, and off of this one trailer alone, it's hard to tell how many towns are going to be in this game. They mentioned there's one central city, and I would assume there's probably going to be like settlements somewhere. One thing I did find interesting, this reminds me of a Skyrim town, or Elder Scrolls town in general, and I know it's because it's supposed to take place during the sort of early ages of Pokemon, and yeah, so it's got the bell tower, watchtower, really. It's just very nice looking. It's a nice looking town. And, alright, so here, I want to point this out. This the way the trainer's designed, this goes for both the male and the female, they pretty much match the appearance of Dawn and Diamond, respectively. But I think that they're obviously supposed to be referencing it. The thing that I think is interesting, it looks like they're referencing ninjas, because they're wearing Dawn has the hat, and then they also have this ninja gi on. And I think that would make a lot of sense as a reference, because, this is taking place, 200 or whatever years before the events of Diamond and Pearl, and Sinnoh is a region that's based on Japan, so... and so having these characters be ninjas, would make a lot of sense. I think that's just a neat little touch. They got the gi, they got the sandals. That almost kind of looks like I have to get a closer look at it, but that symbol almost looks like the Team Galactic symbol. It's probably not, but it kind of has a nice little resemblance to it. So the grass looks good. It's the combat roll. Combat roll interests me. So in Sword and Shield in the wild area, there were Pokemon that could run after you. I don't know now at the moment why they would include a combat roll. That seems like sort of a strange thing to include. But there were supposedly there was a magazine describing these games, and it mentioned that your trainer could get damaged in battle if you didn't have any Pokemon, and you would have to dodge attacks or whatever, else you'd be forced to faint and stuff. I wonder if that combat roll is specifically for that purpose, where you're trying to dodge attacks if all your Pokemon are fainted. Time will tell, but that is really interesting. It could just be a traversal thing, but I don't think it would, because you're covering less distance in the long run. Also, it could just be, you roll out of the way of a Pokemon that's charging at you. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Crouch, it's another thing. I haven't really talked about this yet, but the way catching looks in this game, it reminds me of Monster Hunter, and I hope that they follow through with that, because in Monster Hunter, the way you kill a monster is you have to track it down, place it, you encounter it once, and then it runs away, and then you have to track it down or find its habitat or whatever, and that's where you catch it. If they did that with Pokemon, so say I'm catching a Luxray, and the Luxray sees me and it runs off, having to chase that Pokemon down, I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be a neat little addition. You have to track the Pokemon down, then sneak up to it and catch it behind its back or make it faint or whatever. I hope they follow through with that, but I think just the fact that you sneak up on the Pokemon and whatever, the game looks great, and there's still a lot we don't know about it, so we will just have to wait and see. I know I've been saying that a lot, but there's, these trailers, there's a lot of stuff in them, but there's still a lot that we don't know as well, obviously. Alright, so she throws the Pokeball at him, and one thing that I think is cool, you can hear the 3 shakes still. So I wonder what's going to happen if you fail to catch it and the Pokemon breaks out of it. Will it just run away, or will it... I think the more likely option is that it runs away, so it kind of incentivizes you to weaken it first, or sneak up on it. Maybe sneaking up on it gives you the better chances of catching it. Yeah, but it's I think that's just kind of interesting. And so we see this. We have a battle here. This is a wild Pokemon battle. We see he uses Quick Attack on that Rhyhorn, and then the Rhyhorn's fainted at that point. I wonder if you faint. So this is probably the biggest change, not the biggest, but a pretty big change to catching mechanics. If in normal games, if you knock out the Pokemon, it's over. You don't get a chance to catch it or whatever. And here it looks like it functions similarly to how it does in the anime, where if you knock the Pokemon out, you can catch it then. So that is interesting, because I'm pretty sure that in that scene that Rhyhorn is unconscious. I'd have to get a better look at that, but it's hard to tell. So here we get a Chingling, and that looks like a Bronzong, and a Munchlax in the distance, I think. Don't quote me on that. So here we get another example of the sneaking up, and there's one of those frame drops I was talking about. Now, from what I understand, I'm no expert on this, but from what I've seen just from scrolling through Twitter today, apparently this is something with YouTube and not the game itself. I hope that's the case, and if not, they still got another year at least to fix it. Yeah, I'm looking at that now, and that does kind of look like the Team Galactic symbol. I don't think it is, but it, just kind of a neat coincidence. Anyway, we get Bidoof here. That lighting engine really shines, pun intended, strong here, because we can see the light kind of shifts with the model. Here we have another wild Pokemon battle, it looks like. Starly, and I think there's another Starly. Going back to the wild Pokemon battle for a second, though, it's this kind of adds to that whole theory that your character can be damaged as well in battle, because he's not standing behind him, he's standing off to the side. And so, he gets hit, gets knocked away. There's, nothing we can go off of there, but just off the positioning of the trainer, he's in the exact same stance he's in regularly, like on the field and stuff, just standing still. So I think there's a lot of merit to that theory that they're changing the battle system. And that's probably the biggest concern I have about this game at the moment, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Alright, so here we get, so this is neat. I do like this. You can catch a wild starter Pokemon in this. I don't know if it's just Sinnoh starter Pokemon or everything. That, I cannot make out what that's supposed to be. It looks like some sort of something. I cannot tell what that is. Oh, that might be a Ponyta right there. Starap. Get a nice close combat animation. I think that looks really clean. Especially considering close combat animation, all it is rushing forward and there's just a big flurry of attacks. The fact that, I think it just looks nice for what it is. Just a nice glow around the Pokemon. Get Budew here, Mount Coronet. The trees. Can't wait for people to start talking about the trees in this game. I think that, for what it's worth, I think the trees in this game look a lot better than the ones in Sword and Shield. But, everything in this game looks better than Sword and Shield. There's Turtwig, and here we're back in that town that we're not entirely sure is the name of yet. Alright, so here we get into the starter Pokemon, and the starter Pokemon I think are really intriguing. So it's Oshawott, Growlithe, and Cyndaquil. And this is kind of a strange choice. In the background here we see what looks like an office. And I believe that that's probably the Pokemon Professor's office, because we're getting our Pokemon in this building. And then, people might be asking, why isn't he in the shot? Well, if you watch this trailer, it looks like they go through a great effort to not reveal who the Pokemon Professor is. Because, they easily could have just said, a Professor, what's his name? But they specifically say, they just call him a Pokemon Professor. They don't name him at all, so I don't, obviously it can't be someone like Oak or Rowan or any of the other professors, but I think it could probably be just some other reference. Maybe just another person who looks like Professor Oak. I don't know. As for the starter Pokemon themselves, I think that this is an interesting choice. Oshawott, his model looks a lot different. That makes sense, though, because the last game he was in was Sun and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So he's making a jump straight from that to this, which is probably a big upgrade for him. Rowlet similarly looks really good. Cyndaquil is probably the one that had the biggest makeover out of all of these, though, and it's simply because he's got the fire on his back now. If you look at Cyndaquil, in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, the way that they did his model is that he didn't have the fire coming out of him. It would just be, the fire would come out whenever he did an attack. But finally, if you look at him now, obviously, he's always got the fire on him. I'm not sure if that's just in the choosing your starter Pokemon bit, or, if that's just his new default model. If that's his new default model, that shows that they're making new models for at least some Pokemon, which is reassuring enough. Cyndaquil is just, he probably got the biggest makeover out of all of these, because his lighting also looks really good. I keep bringing that up, the lighting, and that's just because I think this game, it obviously, it runs on a different lighting engine than Sword and Shield, because the shine you see and the shadow, it's a lot better than other games. And in general, this game it's a very pretty game. I've said that a lot. Alright, and so yeah, there's just drawings of the starter Pokemon. Just kind of unrelated, but I do like this idea of the starter Pokemon being, kind of a mishmash of other regions' starter Pokemon. I think that they should maybe start doing that for more games, just because the whole thing with the starter Pokemon is not that they're region exclusive or whatever, it's that they're rare. They're just rare Pokemon, so it's, they just do different mishmashes, plus it gives, different options and stuff. I just think this is a good idea, instead of giving us the same starters or whatever again. And the, I don't remember, is there anything else in this trailer? Oh yeah, they show off Arceus. And so this is, assuming this isn't Arceus' model, because this isn't actual gameplay footage, but this is the first time Arceus has actually been like a major player in the story of a Pokemon game. Because before this, he was just a mythical or whatever. And yeah, there's a little, you can see blue light on this side and then pink light on this side. That's probably a reference to Diamond and Pearl, which were blue and pink color-coded games. Just a neat little reference. And then we get to the title drop. And the thing with the title drop that I think is interesting is it's not just Pokemon Legends, it's Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Legends is the title, Arceus is the subtitle. So that begs the question, is this going to be its own thing from now on? Does this imply that, we could get a Pokemon Legends Mew game or whatever? And there's been a lot of debate ever since this went up about, is this going to be, the format for Pokemon games going forward? And I'm not entirely sure. I think this could become its own thing, and mainline games could draw a lot from it. However, I don't know though, because I guess, technically they could just make new stories and everything for this. So, I don't know. I think it's up in the air right now as to whether or not this is the future of the Pokemon series. And, I have mixed feelings about it if it is. Yes, this game does look very nice. It looks very fun. It just looks good overall. However, there is, I don't know, it's just kind of a big change. Breath of the Wild, I'm not the biggest fan of that game as a Zelda game. I think it's a great video game. I don't think it's a very good Zelda game. And this, if the rumors about the changes that are happening with this are true, I think this might be in a similar boat, although to a lesser extent. It's just, this one looks like a great game. There's just some little changes, and this is where I'm going to talk about my biggest concern. So right now, there is a rumor going around that they're changing the way the battle system works, and instead of having it be turn-based from now on, it's going to be like an action RPG, where it's like a timer before your Pokemon can move again, instead of it just being turn-based. And it was in some article in Japanese. I don't know how to read Japanese, so I cannot translate that. But it's just a rumor at this point, I think. I don't know if it's actually been directly confirmed or not. But we're going to have to wait for future trailers, most likely. But just going off of what we have now, this game is going to be changing a lot of the traditional Pokemon formula. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that, especially considering however many Pokemon games we're in at this point, I think a big change like this is probably a good idea. And even if this is the standard for Pokemon games going forward, I don't think that this is, I don't think this is necessarily a problem. I'm going to keep it on that while I talk, because I really like that picture. Because every game's going to get progressively better, And I know that's kind of funny considering Pokemon games are really debated as to whether or not they get better each generation. Most of the time, people would argue they don't, but they'll get more comfortable doing this type of game going forward, assuming that they do keep doing this style of game. And, at the end of the day, I don't think, even if this is the style going forward, I don't think this is the end of the traditional Pokemon format. I think we could still see it return in other things. Maybe, we'd still get aspects of it coming back, or, just a spin-off game, or... I don't know. I don't think that this is a complete reshift of the series. I think what they might do is they might kind of make this its own subgenre of game, but have it be, I'm having troubles wording this. Have it be, have it go alongside with the mainline releases. That's what I'm trying to say. But honestly, it just depends. I'm really excited for this. Comes out, 2022 it said? Yeah, early 2022, so it's probably just about a year from now. This is really exciting, I feel. I think this has the potential to be the Pokemon game fans have asked for a long time. And people have asked for an open world Pokemon game for a long time. One last thing I did just remember I want to talk about is I'm interested about what the story's going to be. So in the Pokemon Company's tweet, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can find it. Let's try to find it here. Pokemon Snap looks really nice. I was thinking about talking about that too, but but I've been streaming for almost 50 minutes at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up after this. Where was it? Oh, it was probably up at the top, actually. Story unfolds in a long-gone era before the idea of being a Pokemon trainer or having a Pokemon League even existed. That is the thing that interests me, because this means that, it's not going to be a gym-based game, and so it's probably going to take the Sun and Moon route of coming up with some sort of new, not trial as in specifically like the Sun and Moon trials, but a new task system that you have to do, like here's your objectives, and since catch, survey, and research the wild Pokemon. So you're making... I haven't read all these tweets, actually. Okay, so... there's a few things here. Since this is early Sinnoh, I wonder if your whole thing is that you're trying to find some way to meet Arceus. It's interesting. This game is just a big question right now. It's not like Diamond and Pearl remakes, where the only reason I wasn't able to give a good breakdown is just because I haven't played those games in a while. This is a tough nut to crack, just because we don't know a lot about this game at this point. Like, we haven't even seen the way the battle system works, and that's kind of saying a lot. I think this game has potential to be, the best game in the series. My biggest concern is just the battle system. I don't want them to change it. Keep it turn-based. But I will probably, I'll definitely. This was rushed out. For the next one, I'll be sure to kind of put more time and preparation into that. So I'm gonna keep doing these most likely, just because I like Pokemon. It's one of my favorite game franchises of all time. Franchises of all time, and yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream then, because I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I'll probably compile all my thoughts into a video and upload that on a later date, because this was kind of rough, because, you know, like I said, it was rushed out. But within the next week or so, I'll probably turn this into a video and just talk about my thoughts. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this off here. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all are excited about as excited about these games as I am. I'll definitely be keeping updates going as more trailers and announcements about these games come out.